So about to get started, Morocco, who are wearing the red shirts, red socks, green shorts, get us underway. They are playing from left to right, very much the sun in the eyes of the Moroccan defenders and goalkeeper in the first half. There's a shadow that's covering almost half the pitch from one end to the other, but in the goalkeeper's eyes at the moment, and certainly for the early stages of this game, that sun will be beaming in. And Croatia, who I always think back to Russia 4 years ago, so many of their big games came when they were wearing their change strip, all black. But they're back in what is officially their first choice kit, the white with the little almost polka dot red tablecloth almost design on it, and possession with Dejan Lovren, who played all 7 games of the last World Cup as Croatia got to the final. But there's no doubt that he is the one man who, if you were to go back sort of 2 months ago and you would think, would Lovren still be starting for Croatia, it didn't look likely. It was even a question mark as to whether he would be in the squad. But here he is, and he starts, and he is an experienced player, Stephen, and Croatia might need that alongside Guardiola, who's talented, but who's only got 12 caps.
Yeah, he'll be a great voice alongside Guardiola. I think it'll be important for him to have that experience alongside him.
First attack of the game. Bona Sosa, the left-back, tries to charge down the left wing. But he's beaten to it and the ball shepherded out. And behind that goal, the Moroccan fans, and Chappers mentioned it there, the atmosphere that has been created by the Arab and the African nations especially, who are, owning this tournament as being so close to many of the North African countries and into the Middle East. And a point that was made there in the build-up, all the African nations at this tournament, they've got coaches of their own nationality. In the past, it was bringing in foreign coaches and maybe some older guys who've done it in the past. I think that adds to the sense of ownership that these countries now have got their own coaches.
It certainly does. I think it's hugely important. I think that it connects the fans to the team even more, which is huge for the supporters. But one thing that's changed in the years leading into the World Cups is the difference in when you think about where the players are now playing. The players are now playing within the European best leagues, and that is hugely important. That's why we're seeing the gap close as well with the teams playing against each other, and I think that is massive.
At the opening stages of this game, Morocco 0, Croatia 0. Croatian possession with Luka Modric. It's a lovely pass down the right wing, a narrow corridor where he was able to pick out the pass to Juranovic, whose cross comes in, takes a deflection and bounces into the arms of Yassine Bono, the Seville goalkeeper who was in the squad for Morocco 4 years ago but didn't get to make an appearance at Russia 2018. So this is his first taste of World Cup action, a player who's done very well with his club Sevilla in Spain in recent times. He was the first Arab to win the Zamora Trophy last season, which is the award they give in Spain to the goalkeeper who concedes the fewest goals per game's ratio. As Hakimi comes forward down the right-hand side for Morocco, and then a strong challenge comes in on the halfway line, and Croatia regain possession once again. Kovacic moves the ball onto Nikola Vlasic. The whistles you hear in the background from the Moroccan fans who thought they might have had a free kick there.
Yeah, they certainly did, but it was a strong tackle. It was a well-contested tackle, and Croatia came away with the ball, but straight away you can just see the intensity in which both teams are closing each other down. We've seen great starts within the World Cup so far, and this looks like a very good start from both teams.
Ball goes out of play for a throw into Croatia down the right-hand side. Juranovic to take, playing with the sun on his back. The House Stadium is the translation of the Al Bat, second largest venue to be used at this World Cup, as Marcelo Brozovic rolls the ball back to the halfway line to Dejan Lovren. And here is Josko Gvardiol, who's been making big waves with Leipzig since moving to Germany this year. Here's Tottenham's Ivan Perisic controlling it on the left wing, under pressure from Hakimi, and his attempted pass back goes out of play, and Hakimi will feel he's won that first battle between those two.
That will be a battle. That'll be a fantastic battle between the two players. Hakimi loves to get forward, loves to sort of overlap and drive forward with the ball. Croatia are in.
And this is a chance, almost, for Kramaric, and good sweeping defending as Roman Saiz, the former Wolves player, swept in front of Kramaric. There was no danger here, there shouldn't have been. A throw into Morocco in their right full-back position, but they gave it away on the edge of the penalty area, and Kramaric, accelerating in, was a whisker away from getting there. And Saiz, well, a huge sigh of relief for Morocco as that goes out for the corner.
Yeah, he's furious, Saiz. He does so well to recover into position, because you think Kramaric is just going to unleash a shot, and Thankfully, Saiss was alert to the situation, but poor play from Onani in midfield, who lets the ball run under his foot, and you just cannot allow that to happen so early on in the game.
0-0, still the early stages. Corner comes into the edge of the penalty area. Guardiola was lurking there. It was a rehearsed move for Croatia. An attempt to clear the ball by Amala. He almost kicked it off his own face. He tried a little bicycle kick away. Modric picks it up on the edge of the D. Two defenders right in front of him. There's no room for a shot. And then for the relief of Morocco, they managed to get it away. Hakim Ziyech can't hold on to it on the edge of the halfway line. And the ball is cleared away into Croatian territory. 0-0.
Well, one thing Croatia straight away will look to use is Guardiola in from set pieces. He's a mountain of a figure coming up from that left centre half position. He's the one who wins the ball, and then they keep it alive within the box. It's just bouncing round the box. It's like a pinball. But finally, Morocco get to clear the ball away from danger.
Right, so 0-0 between Morocco and Croatia here at the World Cup in Qatar. Some breaking news though on 5 Live, and in the last few moments the Supreme Court has ruled that Scotland cannot hold another referendum on independence without the permission of the British government. We'll go through what this means for the Union and the Scottish independence movement at half-time. But the breaking news on 5 Live is that the Supreme Court has ruled that Scotland cannot hold another referendum on independence without the permission of the British government. More on that as we get it here on BBC Radio 5 Live. In the city of Al Khor, 35 kilometres away from Doha, Romain Saiz's possession on the left-hand side of defence for Morocco. Gives it on to Boufal, who's got a couple of step-overs. This is as far up the field as Morocco have been in the game. Amala into the penalty area, tries to get it onto his right boot. No space there, and Bjorn Sosa clears away for Croatia. First attack that Morocco have mustered, and Croatia did very well to get plenty of bodies back behind the ball. It's been a good open game, played at a fast tempo as Croatia bring it up to the halfway line again, 0-0.
That was the best we've seen from Morocco, switching the ball from right to left, and then Amala finds himself in a position on the edge of the box, drops the shoulder, cuts inside on his right hand side, and you're thinking he's going to put it into the far corner. He's just muscled out of it, and it's the best passage of play we've seen from Morocco. We've sat quite deep in this game. It's a heavy challenge in centre midfield. I think it is on Amala from Brozovic this time. He goes down under pressure.
He can be a hitman, Marcelo Brozovic, can't he? He doesn't take many prisoners when it comes to a 50-50 challenge. Selim Amala stretching for the ball, but once Brozovic lunged, he was going to win it. What he had to be careful, Stephen, was not to be reckless. The referee gives the free kick, but no further action.
Yeah, it's that follow through on his ankle that just catches Amala, and he sort of holds in the ground and goes over on it. Thankfully, he's back on his feet and the game resumes.
8 minutes played. Morocco 0, Croatia 0 at the World Cup. In the past, whenever Croatia have won their opening game at a World Cup finals, they've always gone on to reach at least the semi-finals. They hope for a good start against their African opponents here as Ziyech. That's not a great cross-field pass from him. He's given it straight to Juranovic over the far side. Juranovic back into the centre where Dejan Lovren just had to step on the gas. He was under pressure from this area. There's a very high press from Morocco here, and Ziyech has been over-enthusiastic in that regard. He has fouled Guardiola, but you can see that Morocco have decided they're going to try and get at Lovren and get at Guardiola and put pressure on them on the edge of their own penalty area, and so far it's kind of working.
It is, and that was a brilliant press, and the ball from Lovren wasn't the greatest of balls into Guardiola, and he puts him under pressure. He talked about his stature and his size before. Brilliant feet from him, just releases the ball under the pressure of Ziyech and draws the foul in. But we look at the
Luka Modric, who had just dropped into a pocket of space, spinning up all over the top looking for Nikola Vlasic. It was a difficult one to control, sun in his eyes as well. It bounced off his upper thigh and it goes out for a goal kick. But Modric always playing with the head up, always with that radar scanning, and Morocco will have to be very wary of balls in behind the central defenders from Modric.
I was saying before, Connor, about the European or the players now playing in Europe's top leagues, and you see the difference in the way that they're approaching games to previous World Cups. Now they believe they can go and press high because tactically they're so much better than they were probably I'm going back to Italia 90 when you think of Cameroon first coming into it. Were they really playing within a structure? Probably not.
Well, there's no doubt there's plenty of structure for Morocco. They cruised through their qualifying campaign. They won 6 games out of 6, and they only conceded 1 goal in the group stage proper. They did concede once they got into the playoff round, but I mean, 1 goal conceded in qualifying just shows how watertight this defence has been. I mean, I know West Ham United fans are going to be intrigued to watch Naïf Aguerd, who's making his 27th cap here. Joined West Ham in the summer. They spent a lot of money on him, over £30 million. Injured straight away in pre-season. And West Ham fans only just saw a little glimmer of him before it all stopped for the World Cup. But he's a player who's been so important for Morocco, and second half of the season could be so important for David Moyes and West Ham.
Yeah, and I think it's something that West Ham need to sort out, is the defensive vulnerabilities as Morocco win the ball back again.
Pressure again by Ziyech, and this high press is really causing problems at the back for Croatia. Guardiola's been able to shovel it away for a throw-in, but Ziyech has got a smile on his face, and they can taste blood, Morocco. They've snapped out a few times at these Croatian defenders, and they're beginning to see how it's rattling them, and I think this is only going to enthuse Morocco to press even more.
Absolutely, and we talked about Ziyech before the game, and we haven't seen the best from him that we saw at his days at Ajax. With them playing at Chelsea now, he looks really up for this game. He's pressing high, he's pressing with intent, he's winning the ball back. But for a good interception from Guardiola, he would have put in Nasseri, and it would have been a break for Morocco. But you can see the belief just in the Moroccan players. They believe they can press Croatia and get something out of this.
24 years since Morocco last won a World Cup game, but they have started this one well. Here is Ziyech, difficult one to control, right up against the touchline. He was unlucky there. The long pass came, he allowed it to bounce, and this firm surface on the Albat pitch, it really did spring up, and then it became a difficult one to try and control with his head, and it went out of play for the Croatia throw.
Yeah, difficult one. Just had to go and try and meet the ball and take it on the full, but probably trying to keep an eye on both the ball and the defender.
So 0-0 with 12 minutes played. This is the first of 4 World Cup games we're bringing you today on 5 Live, and BBC sounds as Bono, the goalkeeper, comes out wearing all blue, rolls the ball short for Naïf Aguerd, the West Ham United player wearing the white boots. He passes it low to his right hand side to Achraf Hakimi, and back in again to Aguerd, and this is the first time that Morocco have tried a slow build-up in the game, but eventually that doesn't last very long, because Saiz pumps it down the left wing. It's controlled by Boufal. 6 goals in his last 13 games for Morocco. He springs infield, launches across high, looking for Achraf Hakimi, who nods it down. Ziyech controlled brilliantly on the edge of the area, but his shot comes off the heel of Dejan Lovren. Morocco are really going for this here. Hakimi picks up the loose ball, crosses on the right-hand side, deflects off Sosa. It actually rebounded towards the goal, and Livakovic had to get down well to make a save to the left-hand side, but it's all Morocco at the moment, 0-0.
What a start to the game this is. Belief from Morocco that they can take the game to Croatia. It starts with a great ball from Saiz over the top, and Boufal taking his man on. Hakimi, the opposite fullback, getting forward and making sure that he gives them an option. And then he just cannot get the ball out with his feet enough, Ziyech, to get the shot in on goal. But this is constant pressure from Morocco.
Yeah, Ziyech's control initially was very good, but he was swarmed by defenders inside that penalty area, and he couldn't just open up a view of the goal to get the shot through. More defending for Morocco to do here, as Aguerd is put under pressure by Luka Modric. Furthest up the field we've seen Modric, and that pressure has forced the ball out of play. It'll be a throw into Croatia. Perisic arrives quickly to take it, the number 4 on his back. He's got a fantastic record at major tournaments, Ivan Perisic. Now here's Modric, steps into the penalty area, outside of the right boot, spins in across, but it flashes through a whole host of players, and Mazraoui will pick it up in the left back position, and he plays a calming ball back to Roman Saiz, and Morocco were able to get it away. That, Stephen, was the first time we saw Luka Modric in around the penalty area, and he's always so creative, and he, like the little step over, the injection of pace, and he nearly created something there.
Well, Amrabat's been like a battering ram early on in this game, but he gets nowhere near Luka Modric. Little step over, sells him the dummy, and then he puts his head on his hands as if to say, hands on his head as if to say, why are you not in there? You know I'm going to beat the man, trust me. And Kramaric was just waiting on the edge of the penalty box for the cross and the pullback. Have to get in there when Modric is on the ball. He will find you.
37 years of age now, Luka Modric, but in that position where he goes from a standstill to accelerate past the defender, he still has that yard of pace, and it almost took his own teammates by surprise there.
Yeah, it was brilliant, wasn't it? We're always glowing about him. We're talking about him in the highest regard constantly. At 37 years of age now, we're still talking about his ability to sidestep and go past players. The big question is can he still do it in the 85th minute? I think that's the question now that you'll be asking later on in the game.
Luka Modric, 156th cap today, and he becomes here the first player to play in both a World Cup and a Euros in 3 different decades. No one has ever done that in world football before. What a career Luka Modric has had, and he's hoping that this month in Qatar might end up being the crowning glory of it. Cleverly left there by Modric as the ball went out of play. He knew it was going to be a throw-in to Croatia. Attacking position down the right-hand side. There are a lot of Croatia fans here, but massively outnumbered by their Moroccan counterparts. But a good atmosphere, plenty of red in the stadium as it features prominently in both nations' flags. Here's Modric again, picking a pass down the right wing to Juranovic, but he can't feed it infield to Vlasic. Possession picked up by Amala. That's a good smart turn to get away from Brozovic, but then a dreadful pass to Perisic, and Perisic sees the keeper off his line, and he goes from 50 yards out nearly, and he tries to clip it over, but it just rises, and Bono was backpedaling. Amala's the most relieved man in the stadium because he gave the ball away there, and Perisic, it wasn't a lofted lob, he tried to drill it over the goalkeeper, and it wasn't too far away at all. 0-0 it remains.
What a beautiful strike from Perisic. Hits it so sweetly, and you know, when you look at the ball and you see the movements on the ball, there's barely any movement on it. It's struck so well. As you say, Amala will be so thankful. He does so well just to beat his man. Jinks inside and then just so lazy with the pass after it.
No surprise that Croatia do so well in international football. They've got the skill, they've got the guile, but they've got the toughness too, as Lovren takes no chances inside his own penalty area. 2 players sprinting in to pressure him, El Nassiri and Ziyech, and Lovren for a moment thought, whoa, I'm in trouble here, and he just blasted it out for a throw-in. So Morocco may remain on the attack on the right-hand side. Morocco 0, Croatia 0. The World Cup on the BBC as Hakimi rolls it in towards the edge of the penalty area. Unahi is able to flick it out. He's a player to look out for, loves a dribble. That's a really good cross, played in by Ziyech, and he just couldn't get a touch on the far post. Thumbs up from El Nassiri. He knows that was a devilish cross, but lovely movement from Ziyech, and almost pinpoint with the delivery. That's actually the best chance of the game so far. 0-0.
It is, and it was lovely play between Hakimi and Ziyech down that right hand side. The ball in, swinging in with the left foot, and as you say, El Nassiri at the back post, so close to getting on the end of it, just a fraction away. He'd beaten Lovren in the air. But keep on saying it though, Morocco, they are the form team.
Here's Boufal, tries to turn on the edge of the area, might still be alive for Unahi, somehow still alive for Amala, and then it's Luka Modric who nips in and wins possession inside his own penalty area and dribbles it out of the box. They're so intricate, Morocco, in around the penalty area. They've got confidence. Here is Hakimi, plays a 1-2 on the edge of the tee, goes down, and a free kick in a shooting position. Dangerous position here for Morocco, and Croatia feeling the temperature of the moment in Qatar. 19 minutes played, Morocco 0, Croatia 0.
Well, Morocco running over the topper of Croatia at the moment. They're just finding it far too easy to pick up second balls and win those challenges, those duels. They're getting in behind. We talked before the game about the experience of Croatia's midfield, but so far it's been Morocco's midfield that have won that battle.
It was Modric who committed the foul. He was late, stamping down on the instep of Achraf Hakimi. But this is a pinpoint position for a free kick. It is bang centre of the target. Goalkeeper will have to make a decision here what side he wants to put the wall, because if you're to draw a direct line from the goal line through the penalty spot, that is where the free kick is, but outside the D. Nice distance, there's enough room to get it up and over the wall and down again. And Hakim Ziyech, 18 international goals, is the man who's placing the ball here. Hakimi might want to have a say as well as a right-footed option, but this looks good for the left boot of Hakim Ziyech, the first attacking free kick of the game. Croatia are going to put down a draft excluder. Marcelo Brozovic is lying on the ground behind the wall. That will allow his teammates to jump. but they have erected a very wide wall here as the goalkeeper Dominik Livakovic tries to cover as much space as he can. Big moment in the game, 20 minutes played. Some Moroccans trying to go in and cause an obstruction in front of the wall as well, trying to block the view of the goalkeeper. It is Ziyech. It is into the wall, which stands firm and does its job, and Croatia breathe a big collective sigh of relief as the ball is pumped back in by Amrabat and then hooked away by Luka Modric, who's arguably been his best defender in his team. He certainly made the most tackles in the game so far, but now Croatia spring the counter, and this is an opportunity. Kramaric tries to break into the penalty area. Amrabat worked really hard to get back, and then as Vlasic came to arrive, he was tackled as the ball came to him. Good challenge by Mazraoui, and the ball goes out for a corner. It is end-to-end, Stephen. It is still 0-0, but Croatia nearly pouncing on the counter-attack there.
Yeah, but one thing you saw with Kramaric up front, he did not have the pace to go beyond Amrabat. Amrabat just sat deep, said, go on, take me on, see if you've got the pace to do it. He doesn't, and that will give confidence to Morocco now to play an even higher line and to close those gaps.
Second corner of the game. A few Croatian players have gone into a little huddle around the penalty spot. I'm sure they'll all spring away in different directions now. Guardiola is up there, Lovren too, the two central defenders. Bono is waving his arms to his teammates. Here comes the delivery. Kramaric tries to flick it onto the front post. It wasn't a great ball in from Luka Modric, actually, by his very high standards. The ball is still in play. Boufal has gone down. Referee hasn't hold up play. Kramaric 10 yards outside the penalty area, plays it back to Guardiola. He plays it into the penalty area, repelled away by Mazraoui, but Croatia come again. Vlasic to Modric, right-footed cross comes in, and it's not great, and it's cleared away, and then a good sliding challenge by Guardiola will hold on to possession to Croatia, but they are back now inside the centre circle once again. We're midway through the first half, 0-0. BBC Radio 5 Live, also BBC Sounds, and across Africa on BBC World Service. Morocco have started well here against the finalists last time out, Croatia, as Kovacic of Chelsea rolls it back to the former Liverpool defender Dejan Lovren, wearing orange boots. To his left-hand side is Josko Guardiola, who's got the protective headgear on, and that must be sweltering in the heat of Qatar to have to wear that, not just a sort of rugby style scrum cap, but across his face as well. He looks like a character out of a Batman movie or something down there, protecting his damaged face, and that must be, well, he's been wearing it for a long time now, so he'll be used to it, but coming into those latter stages of the game, that must be an irritant. As Hakimi has possession, the Paris Saint-Germain right back, poor ball by him, straight to Perisic, who rolls it to the right hand side. Vlasic wasn't ready for the pass to come. Brilliant tackle comes in from Mazraoui, and Morocco will work their way into the Croatian half once again with Sofiane Boufal. A calming ball backwards, and we can all take a breath, but 0-0 with 23 minutes played.
Yeah, you just saw a moment of a lapse of concentration from Hakimi, but the pressure that his teammates put on the ball to win it back straight away, what they've realised is they do not want to give the Croatian players time to pick the heads up, pick a pass, because they realise there's immense quality within their team. I've been so impressed with Morocco so far.
Really good attitude, real positivity. They've decided that they are going to go for it, as Achraf Hakimi controls the ball so well down by the byline. He went through Borna Sosa, turns back onto his right foot again, cross comes in, might have struck an arm. VAR will have a look at it. I think even if it did strike an arm, the arm was down by the side, and the ball repels out of play, and it'll be a throw into Morocco. They remain on the attack.
I'm not sure the assistant referee was up with play there, because the ball clearly goes out, yes. And Hakimi manages to keep it alive. You see the Croatia goalkeeper calling for it, saying the ball was out, so that could have been contentious.
Well, that's one of those, if it had ended up going into the back of the net, VAR would have come back and seen that, but as it wasn't a goal, they don't intervene, they don't get involved, and play continues, and Morocco still have possession, 0-0. We've yet to add a sort of clear-cut shot on target, but Morocco have shown good movement as Hakimi plays it down the right-hand side. Ziyech back into Achraf Hakimi, and now to Amrabat inside the centre circle, who encourages Roman Saiz to come over the halfway line, and he plays it to Mazraoui wide on the left-hand side. Right-footed ball into the penalty area. Good movement in there by El Nassiri, and Lovren got back and made the challenge and clears it out for a throw-in. However, there's been a foul just as the ball went out of play, and it's actually going to be a free kick to Croatia and a chance for them to clear away. And Lovren, under immense pressure again, held his nerve.
Yeah, he did. He lost the fight of the ball initially when it went into En-Nesyri, but then he recovered so well, gets a block on the shot. Great take from En-Nesyri. Turns, spins, he thinks he's lost Lovren, but he gets back at him. Another good duel between the two.
Is it fair to say, Stephen, he's kind of made a career of that day at Lovren, that he'll make a mistake, but then he'll work really hard to make amends for it. You know what I mean?
Yeah, quite possibly.
In the end, you say you've done but actually, you shouldn't have been in that situation in the first place. You know what I mean?
He shouldn't have lost the flight of the ball, but yeah, great recovery from him.
He can be infuriating to watch at times. Dejan Lovren, who plays with Zenit St. Petersburg these days. Here he is in possession on the edge of the penalty area for Croatia, slowly bringing it up towards the halfway line.
I think one thing about Lovren is he's a magnificent defender, but he just lapses in concentration, and that's what's probably stopped him playing at Liverpool at the elite level for so long. But you don't play for Croatia in World Cups and in Euros that often to be a poor defender.
Cross from the left-hand side from Croatia's too close to the goalkeeper, and Yasin Bono is able to rise high and gather it. And we get to see on our monitors here Walid Regragui, the 47-year-old coach who was only appointed in August. The story was that Valid Halilhodzic was sacked because he'd not got on with several of the players, including Hakim Ziyech, who was making himself unavailable for international selection. So they got rid of Halilhodzic. They brought in Regragui, who has got a very good reputation in Africa. His Moroccan club won the African equivalent of the Champions League. A right back in his playing days, popular player for the national team, but he's not had much time, having only been given the job in August to get the team playing his way. He's barely had a handful of games in charge. So the performance so far seems so gelled, so cohesive in those circumstances.
Well, I'd be delighted. I'd love to see his team after a year of playing, because this has been impressive so far. To get your message across as how you want to play, how organised you want to be, I think you're seeing what he probably wants from his team, and very, as I've said numerous times already, very impressed with them.
Yeah, and backed by the very noisy support of the Moroccan supporters inside the Al Bayt Stadium. And I think it was a feature of the Saudi Arabia performance in that fairy tale win over Argentina. Their fans created the atmosphere inside the stadium. Morocco were trying to produce a similar support for their team, and it feels like those energy levels have been harnessed by the Moroccan team in the early stages. Modric has it near the halfway line. Short ball to Mateo Kovacic. Back to Modric once again as this Moroccan high press continues to make life uncomfortable for Croatia inside their own half, and they're getting no chance for a slow, patient build-up here. Croatia, everything has to be hurried in the central third because they've not been given any time on the ball. Dejan Lovren gives it to Modric. Look how deep Modric is dropping here because he can't get space in the midfield. He pings a high ball out to Perisic on the left-hand side. Perisic controls and plays it up through Sosa to Kovacic, level with the edge of the penalty area, left-hand side now. Right-footed delivery and goalkeeper comes. Good command and goalkeeping by Bono, and he gathers it and he relieves the pressure from Morocco. 0-0 with 28 minutes played.
They had to work so hard for that, Croatia, to find any type of opening. Passage of play that they created was calm, it was intelligent, and they had to be, because the way that Morocco is setting traps, as soon as Croatia come past the halfway line, and making sure they're on the Croatian players. But we know the quality that the Croatians have. They can play around that, and it was very patient.
So 0-0. Last time in Russia, Morocco had a very difficult group. They were in that same group as Spain and Portugal, which was always going to make things difficult. Here they start against the finalists last time, so they're getting used to playing against the big boys at these big World Cup events. 0-0 at the moment, and Morocco are hoping that their purple patch hasn't passed them by here without managing to get on the scoreboard. Amrabat very strong in the midfield to hold off Modric, and Modric shows that he's no saint. He lost it out through fair means, and then he crunched in with the foul, and that is Luka Modric. He can do dazzling things, but he can be devastating too.
Yeah, he just got brushed off the ball by the body strength of Amrabat in midfield, and then snaps at his heels to make sure that he doesn't get away, because he knew that he was out of position.
The other two teams in this group, Belgium and Canada, who play each other later. John Murray and Dion Dublin will be your commentary team for that. 7 p.m. UK time. Coverage of all the games on 5 Live and BBC Sounds as Rawi cuts it out on the left-hand side and gets the ball up to Boufal, who's looked very good on the ball when he's had it in this game so far. He tries that same step-over move, which Brozovic has seen a few times now, and Brozovic says, well, I'm going to crunch you this time, and he does, and the ball goes out of play for a throw into Croatia as we reach the half-hour point in this first of 4 FIFA World Cup games being played in Qatar today. Here is Bjorn Sosa, who got his first international goal recently against Denmark, a neat low finish after a corner. Modric picks it up again, centre circle, plays it forward towards Vlasic. Very dramatic chest of the ball to accurately pass it out to Jurvanovic on the right hand side, but Croatia back inside their own half again and back to where they began, and Guardiola will bring it into Moroccan territory once again. Low ball forward, cut out by West Ham's Naif Aguirre. Morocco bossing it at the moment as Al-Mala has to spin away from Modric and Brozovic inside the centre circle, but he holds on to possession. This is the shaven-headed Sofian Amrabat. Not a great ball forward, too close to Guardiola, but Croatia can't hold on to it, and Hakim Ziyech picks up possession on the right hand side. Left-footed ball into the penalty area, just marginally too far in front of El Nassiri, and it goes out for a goal kick to Croatia. It remains 0-0 for now.
One of the big problems that Croatia are having is the turnover of their ball is too often. When they win it back, they're trying to penetrate through Morocco quickly because of the press. And if they turn it over, it's causing them big problems, and it's allowing Morocco to come on top of them again and again. This is a fascinating battle between the two teams, though, because Croatia have just started to get a hold of this game. They're starting to get hold of possession a little bit more now, a little bit more patient and drawing Moroccan players out of positions.
Guardiola to Lovren. Croatia playing right to left as we look down in their checkered white and red. Morocco all in red with the green shorts. Guardiola with the green boots plays it up to Luka Modric, but again Amrabat breathing down his neck and just hounding Luka Modric backwards, and Croatia have not been allowed to settle on the ball at all. Here is Modric again, 10 yards inside his own half, creeps into Moroccan territory, plays it past to Sosa. That wasn't a good one, and as Ziyech was in to try and pick the pocket of Sosa, who just about held on to possession, but it's the same theme where Croatia just aren't allowed to settle. Lovely dummy there by Modric though, and now he plays a pass in front of Nikola Vlasic into the penalty area. Strong challenge comes in from Saiz, and the ball goes out of play for a throw into Croatia on the left hand side. 12 minutes to go to the break. Stephen Warnock.
Could watch him all day. Modric, he's just a genius, isn't he? When you see he knows everything that's around him. It's twice now in the game that he's just sold people dummies straight away, little overs, understanding where people are, takes that pressure off his team. So clever.
Yeah, so small but so dynamic, so elegant. And you're right, you could just watch him all day. Little movements. It's not just the goals with Modric, it's the little things that he does, the little dummies, the way he makes space. As Perisic here plays the ball back to the goalkeeper, and Morocco want a free kick, but they're not going to get it for a challenge near the halfway line. Croatia build again. Josip Juranovic, the Celtic right back, 22nd cap for him today. Gives it up to Nikola Vlasic. Vlasic, who scored against Scotland at Euro 2020 the summer before last. 43rd cap today for Nikola Vlasic. And now Guardiola has it once again with El Nassiri crowding. I mean, will Morocco be able to keep this high press going for the whole game? It'll be some achievement if they do. Kovacic trying to spin into some space, plays a very nice pass out to Juranovic on the right hand side, early into the penalty area. Roman Saiz has to slide, and that looks like it might go for a corner, but good defending by Mazraoui to head it out for a throw in instead. Croatia remain in the attack. Kovacic with a good range of a pass there, and Croatia trying to build the tempo and the rhythm that we know they're capable of. Kovacic has it once more, gets it up to Kramaric, 10 yards outside the penalty area. Down goes Vlasic. It's a strong tackle, but a fair one from Sofian Amrabat, who's had a storming game in that anchor role in the midfield so far for Morocco. And how many times has he won back possession for his team in this game so far?
Yeah, he's been the outstanding player for Morocco. Every time there's danger, he's the one snuffing it out. He seems to be covering the ground so well. You said, Connor, will they be able to keep up this intensity? Will he be able to carry that on for 90 minutes? Because he's just sensing danger all over the pitch, but also his passing is extremely good as well.
Here's another attempt of a long ball from Saiz, cut out by Bjorn Sosa. Saiz was trying to pick out Ziyech on the right wing, and Sosa, who's got that sort of long hair held back in the Alice band, a little bit like Modric, similar in appearance, clears the ball away. Brozovic just about keeping it in play. Didn't know the ball went out of play before Brozovic was able to clear. So that will be possession in the left full-back position for Croatia. Still 0-0. 10 minutes now to go to half-time.
I was going to say that to you before about Sosa. Do you think he likes Modric because he's got the same style, the same look? I actually mixed them up before. I was thinking, is
you
that
think
Modric?
He's a stand?
He's absolutely.
I'd love to see Bjorn Sosa's bedroom. I bet he's got Modric posters up on the wall. He's very much going for that look. 9th cap today for the 24-year-old who plays in Germany with Stuttgart, Bjorn Sosa, the Croatia left back. Morocco have possession once again. Agard, West Ham's big money transfer of the summer, and they've hardly seen him play at all, but West Ham fans certainly get a taste of what he's capable so far, and a good partnership between Agard and Saiz so far. They've kept Kramaric very much under control. Fernando Rapellini, the Argentinian referee, has given a free kick here to Morocco. You might remember Rapellini. He was part of the exchange programme that saw some South American officials come to Europe and be in charge of games at Euro 2020, and then some European referees went to the Copa America as a sort of exchange programme. But he took charge of 3 matches at the Euros, did Rapellini. And that is the thing, that a lot of talk about the different interpretations of referees from different parts of the world, and I think that's something that FIFA are trying to address. Lovely touch by Modric. Brozovic then with a nutmeg, and he went through Saiz. He's played a ball in front of Nikola Vlasic, who's got it out by the edge of the penalty area on the right hand side. Vlasic manages to deliver across, but it's a poor, weak, low one. Saiz intercepts, and Morocco survived there for a moment, just for a second, when there was the nutmeg by Brozovic to the halfway line. That looked dangerous, but Morocco has dealt with everything so well so far. Amala here goes down and gets a free kick. He was challenged by Nikola Vlasic, and that's a free kick to Morocco inside their own half. Morocco 0, Croatia 0.
Brilliant from Brozovic, because you see Amrabat storming in, and we've said how well he's played so far, but he gets sold for the nutmeg, and again, Croatia don't have the pace to get away from Morocco. You can see that high line that Morocco are trying to play, and they can comfortably play it because Croatia don't have the speed and attack to run away from the Moroccan defence. 8
minutes to go to the break. We'll have more on that Supreme Court decision regarding the Scottish independence referendum coming up at half-time on 5 Live. We'll be back in the studio with Mark Chapman. As in Albat, the city of Alcor, this huge tent-like stadium. Morocco 0, Croatia 0, and Croatia been given a scare here, but holding firm against the enthusiasm of their African opponents. Modric, another lovely touch, encouraging Brozovic forward, runs into the brick wall that is Amrabat. It's a free kick, and Amrabat, big smile in his face, comes across to the referee. But that was when a rock in a hard place can blind. I mean, Brozovic, who's made a granite into Hakimi, it's a challenge that wouldn't have looked out of place in the Six Nations.
I think Brozovic was almost thinking, I can't argue with that because I'd have done exactly the same myself.
Yes, he will have a bit of respect about the ferocity of that challenge, but I think that sums up how Morocco are standing up to the tough lads from Croatia, as Sosa makes a challenge but lost his awareness of where the ball was on the edge of the Croatia penalty area, and he's helped out by Perisic, and then Guardiol with a calming touch, and Perisic calm again into Brozovic, and Croatia beginning to get that rhythm that we've been saying they've been seeking, as Juranovic comes over the halfway line, over the far side of the pitch. That shadow, which was only half covering the playing surface at kickoff, is now 3/4 covering the pitch as it creeps its way. By the second half, the entire pitch will be in shade, which I'm sure will be of a relief to the players. Croatia keep trying to get Modric on the ball in attacking positions, and they've not been able to so far. He's only had a handful of touches in around the Moroccan penalty area in the game.
Yeah, he's sat so deep because of the press from Morocco. He knows he can't get on the ball high up the pitch. It's interesting, when the ball is played by Modric into forward players, as soon as they turn, they've got Moroccan players snapping at the heels, getting tight. It's very, very difficult. You'd expect in the second half that might open up a little bit, but so far so good for Morocco.
Morocco, who've beaten European countries twice before at World Cups. They beat Portugal in 1986, and famously they beat Scotland at the World Cup in 1998. But those have been the only 2 games that Morocco have ever won at World Cup finals. They would love to claim another UEFA European scalp here in Alcor today, as Possession is picked up by Unahi. We've not seen much of him in the midfield at the number 8. He's an attacking midfielder, and here he is getting on the ball from Ziyech into the penalty area. Tried to return it, but it is cut out by, guess who? Luka Modric, back helping out the defence. Hakimi though wins it off Modric. Modric bites back to win it, and it's going to be a free kick to Morocco just outside the penalty area. It's a game that's been played at such a fierce competitive nature, and Modric making tackles all over the place, but on this occasion it's a pull back on the shirt by Modric, and it's a free kick to Morocco.
Yeah, he just tries to be too clever. Luka Modric tries to nutmeg Hakimi. Hakimi sees it and then drives away, and it's a pull of the shirt. I was surprised that he actually didn't pick a booking up there.
I thought that was an interesting point by Mark Schwarzer in our build-up to this game, where we were talking about, the referees have been consistent. This pulling of shirts is now a foul in football, and there, for years people got away with it, and you would hope the knock-on effect would be that players will stop doing it. But Mark said it's just in their DNA. They've been brought up their whole life. They pull shirts instinctively. Players are going to keep doing it, but at least the referees are clamping down. We'll get comment from Stephen on that in just a moment. Free kick to Morocco, level with the edge of the penalty area, right hand side as they come forward. 0-0 in the Al Bat Stadium, the venue for the opening game a few days ago. This is a good opportunity for either Hakimi to do an outswinger or Ziyech to inswinger. That's what he does. Controlled, calm as you like, on his chest by Brozovic. How cool was that? As Croatia trying to play it away, but Ziyech is in to put pressure on Brozovic, and eventually the ball goes out for a throw-in. Throw into Croatia. Ziyech felt he was fouled. He wants a free kick, but the referee and the assistants say throw into Croatia.
No, it's a clear foul. Brozovic just shoves him in the back. Ziyech has got the ball in between his body and the touchline, and Brozovic he's got no way of winning the ball back, and he shoves him in the back. Croatia have a little bit of a problem here.
Yes, Nikola Vlasic is down. He is rolled down his sock. He's loosened his shin pad, and he seems to be feeling his shin calf area. So Zlatko Dalic, the Croatian coach, just ahead of half-time with a scoreline of 0-0, will be sending on his medical team here and hoping that Nikola Vlasic is going to be okay.
Yeah, I think he's pointing to his calf. It doesn't look good for Vlasic on the right hand side of this forward line from Croatia.
We spoke so much about it, didn't we, since the early start to the season in August. We've known this World Cup is coming, and we've wondered about the toll of injuries. I know Harry Kane is a big scare for England at the moment ahead of that game, which will be at this stadium, by the way, this same Al Bat Stadium on Friday, England against USA. But the toll on the players, they've had a very busy time. They had a shortened summer, they've had busy club, European commitments, no break, straight into this World Cup. And, it's not going to be a surprise to see a lot of players like Vlasic here picking up injuries during games.
Isn't it funny, though, that at the start of the season, when we all knew the World Cup was coming, one of the big talking points was all the players will be super fit because they'll be up to speed. It's the complete opposite. Okay, yes, they're at match tempo and they're ready for the games, but they're fatigued already going into this World Cup.
Well, it's that fine balance, isn't it? We always speak about our players undercooked or are they worn out, and it's trying to get that little balance right. Look, hopefully Vlasic will be okay. He's been taken to the touchline to continue treatment. Croatian players have just got into a little huddle, had a little mini team talk. You can see the evidence of the heat in Qatar, which was something was spoken about so much in the middle. But look at the shirts of the Croatian players. It's like a wet t-shirt competition. They're stuck to their bodies.
Yeah, I mean, it will be very hot. One thing I am surprised is that there is no water breaks. We had them in the Premier League, and I think they were utilised extremely well, but obviously FIFA deciding that that's not needed.
There's enough stoppage time, by the way. Imagine how long the games would be with the water breaks. But you're right, from a health and safety point of view, very important for the teams to get those liquids on board. So we're into the final minute of regulation before halftime, and to be fair, there haven't been too many stoppages in this game. It's a games that flowed. We haven't had any VAR interventions. It's all moved on nicely. It's been an entertaining watch. This early kickoff today at the World Cup has got things off to a nice start as Unani tried to make an attack towards the byline. Guardiola shepherded him all the way, and the ball went out of play for a goal kick. As Dean Unani, who plays in France with Angers. He's a young player, he's 22, and he's kind of trying to get into the game. He's full of runs, but he's actually not seen much of the ball in the match so far.
He's just a little bit lightweight. He's just getting shoved off the ball a little bit too much, but you can see that the runs that he makes are hugely intelligent and very beneficial for his team.
Saiz beats Perisic to the ball, rolls it back to the goalkeeper Bono. Long clearance up towards the halfway line. El Nassiri jumped in the air but was beaten by Lovren. El Nassiri, who's got 3 goals in his last 4 internationals. He's had 1 chance in this game. The cross from Ziyech that just glanced off the top of his fringe. He couldn't get a firm head on it. That was the most clear-cut opportunity of this game so far. And it fell to the man that Morocco would have wanted it to fall to, but just marginally too high for him. Brozovic's possession on the halfway line, 0-0. We move into stoppage time, 2 additional minutes to be added on.
I think this has been a game that's been hugely competitive, and it's been so enjoyable to watch, but neither keeper having to make a save of note. And I think that's what both managers will be saying, is that, especially Morocco's manager.
Ball over the top, Kramaric comes, Bodo comes out and crackles into, absolutely barges in, but he'll feel that the ball was there to be won. Croatia possession with Perisic, nice disguise pass to Sosa, low ball in, Bodo with a brilliant save! Best chance of the game so far, point blank in front of the goalkeeper. Nikola Vlasic arrived with pace, directed the ball goal bound, and somehow Bodo, who'd been out of his penalty area a moment ago, managed to get back and made the save of the game so far. Still 0-0.
Yeah, well, we said neither goalkeeper had a save to make, and now we see one. Lovely play down the left-hand side with Perisic with a lovely reverse ball into Sosa, who reverses it into Vlasic, and you're thinking he's just going to put it into the goal. It's a magnificent save. It's a huge save for Morocco. He spreads himself so well to get in front of the ball. It is massive.
So just to paint the picture, he'd run to the edge of the penalty area with Kramaric coming in. He sort of volleyball palmed the ball away. He fell onto his head and shoulders outside the penalty area. When the loose ball fell to Perisic, he gave it to Sosa left-hand side. In came the cross. Vlasic is arriving, and somehow the goalkeeper Bodo, in that 2 seconds, has got back from the edge of the penalty area, back on his goal line, and he made the save point blank. That's a huge moment in this game. And how demoralised Morocco would have been, Stephen, having played so well, if they'd conceded in stoppage time at the end of this first half.
Yeah, they wouldn't have deserved it, but that's what you're playing against. You're playing against a quality Croatian team who know that if they stay within the game, they have that quality in forward positions to cause problems. But what a save from Boho. He actually sits himself down on his backside and saves it with his legs.
The Seville goalkeeper proving his worth. Maybe a chance for Vlasic here. Lovely tackle by Agard, and then the follow-up shot from Luka Modric is over the crossbar. Modric, of all the Croatian players who you would think would keep it down and keep it on target, but brilliant tackle by Agard initially, and Modric, he was stretching a little bit and he couldn't keep. He went for power more than accuracy, really. But it's summing up the mood. We've said it right from the get-go. These Moroccans, as the whistle blows for the break, they're putting their bodies on the line. They are giving this everything, and they've reached half-time scoreless, Stephen Warner.
Yeah, they've done extremely well, Morocco. They've been so well organised, competitive. They just haven't had any quality in the final third. That's really caused Croatia any problems. But from a Croatian point of view, they've come back into the game very late on. They started to dictate play a little bit. They created the best opportunity of the game through Vlasic, but for a great save from Boho. And then just at the end there, a magnificent tackle from Agard, the West Ham centre-back, who just gets across, puts a great tackle in on Vlasic, who thinks he's probably got a shot at an empty goal.
Right, no goals, but it is certainly entertaining. Can Morocco keep this up in the second half? Croatia with it all to do, but disappointed that they didn't take the lead there just before the break. Vlasic denied by Bono. That's been the big moment of the first half. For now, Morocco 0, Croatia 0.
Really entertaining and enjoyable 45 minutes, Stephen.
I loved it. Absolutely loved it. Loved the battles all over the pitch. You look at Brozovic, who's putting tackles in. We spoke about him before the game. We look at Amrabat, who is just a battering ram of a midfielder for Morocco, but can play as well. Morocco being very well organised. Love the way that they've gone after Croatia. They're showing them respect by going and closing them down, and that is the respect that they deserve. But this has been a great game, and we know, chappers, that Croatia have got that quality just to sort of ease themselves back into the game, and they created the best opportunity right at the death of their first half.
Yeah, and it was only really in that last 5 or 10 minutes, Mark Schwarzer, that Morocco would have been concerned. I mean, I know there was a Perisic shot that went over the bar midway through the first half, but it was only in that last 5 or 10 minutes that they felt under pressure. Oh, hang on, I can't hear you at the moment. Well, there we go.
Yeah, no, I think there was definitely a moment there at the end there. Bono made a fantastic save, made himself a really big point blank and certainly kept Morocco in the game. They were a little bit nervy towards that latter stages of that half. I'd be interested to know what Stephen says or thinks about Modric, because I thought he was a little bit fortunate potentially not to have got a yellow card in that first half.
Yeah, I think there was a couple of late tackles, wasn't there? I think the one where Amrabat runs away from him and he clearly takes him down. Then there's the tug of his shirt on Hakimi. I think that is, again, it's that subjective refereeing, isn't it? And how much he's going to get given. I think the big thing is now is second half. If it happens to one of the Moroccan players, does the referee have the mindset to say, well, no, I've let Modric away with it, so I'll let you away with it as well?
Or is it because that's Modric and you're not?
Well, exactly.
yeah. I mean, if that had been Brozovic, maybe, then Brozovic is getting a yellow.
Oh, Brozovic has made a few tackles. Don't worry about that chap, as he's got away with a fair few. I think he's on about 6 or 7 now, where if the referee hasn't already said to him, listen, one more and you're in the book, because he's been very, very competitive, let's say.
There hasn't been any cards in the game, and I'm kind of glad there hasn't in a way, because it has been fiercely competitive. You know, if there had been 2 or 3 guys on yellows, you'd actually think we're going to finish this game with one of the teams down to 10 men. It's been ferocious pace. I mean, and I think Morocco have got to be, you know, praised for how they've not allowed Croatia to settle. Croatia have to do everything at 100 miles an hour, and they're struggling to do it.
What we could do with is a goal, and I'll tell you why. Because yesterday with Argentina, Saudi Arabia, people flocked to us in their hundreds of thousands, millions, and deserted Popmaster. And Ken Bruce, and Ken Bruce is worried. He's gone into Popmaster this morning, claiming it's more entertaining than the football, right? So Ken Bruce is seriously worried about us in the mornings on 5 Live. So we just need a goal to keep up that entertainment and keep them worried over at Radio 2. 9 minutes to 11, second half on the way, straight after the latest BBC News with Nick.
Take the World Cup with you. Qatar 2022.
On BBC Sounds, this is BBC Radio 5 Live.
Thanks, Mark. Good morning. The UK's highest court has ruled the Scottish Parliament does not have the power to hold another independence referendum without the permission of the UK government. Nicola Sturgeon had hoped to hold another vote in October next year. The Supreme Court President, Lord Reid, read out their ruling.
The Scotland Act gives the Scottish Parliament limited powers. In particular, the Scottish Parliament has no power to legislate in relation to matters that are reserved to the United Kingdom Parliament at Westminster. Those reserved matters include fundamental aspects of the Constitution of the United Kingdom.
Well, let's talk now to our Scotland correspondent, James Shaw. Hi, James. Can you just briefly outline what the judges have said today?
Yeah, I think what's interesting about this, first of all, is that it was quite a quick decision that they came to.
James, I think we're going to... Your line is really bad there. We're going to try and speak to you a little later on and hear more about that decision by the Supreme Court to tell the Scottish Government that it does not have the power to hold another independence referendum without the permission of the UK Government. We are expecting more reaction to that this afternoon. There are protests expected to that decision. But some other news in brief to tell you about, and police in the US state of Virginia now say that 6 people were killed by a gunman at a Walmart store. After the attack, the suspect then shot himself. It's believed he was the store manager and the victims his co-workers. The Foreign Secretary, James Cleverly, says Qatar has taken real steps to ensure the safety of gay fans at the World Cup. Homosexuality is illegal there. Mr. Cleverly, who's just returned from Qatar, says he made it clear how seriously the UK takes the issue. I think we can talk to James, our Scotland correspondent, again now. And James, you were trying to tell us when the line dropped, just briefly what the judges have said today.
Yes, essentially what this is a judgment which looks at the powers of the Scottish Parliament as it was set up just over 20 years ago when the devolution era happened. And essentially what the judges said was that the Scottish Parliament has power to do certain things, to legislate in Scotland on certain issues, but not on matters that affect the union between England and Scotland or affect the UK Parliament at Westminster. And what these 5 judges unanimously decided was that a referendum on independence, even though it wouldn't have the legal power in and of itself to allow independence to happen, it would by its result, whether it was in favour of independence or not, it would strengthen or weaken the union between Scotland and England. Therefore, it would have an effect on what is supposed to be a reserve power. And for that reason, the judges said that Scotland and the Scottish government could not have a referendum off their own bats, as it were. Now, there's been a little bit of reaction from Nicola Sturgeon, the First Minister of Scotland. Of course, she is in favour of independence for Scotland. She said that this judgment exposes the myth of the UK as a voluntary partnership. It makes the case for independence, according to her. And I think we can expect more from Nicola Sturgeon and supporters of independence as this judgment sinks in as the day goes on. I think we can expect to see certainly demonstrations in a number of towns, including Edinburgh, where I am, and across other parts of Scotland as well.
Yeah, it's complicated, it's technical, isn't it, all this legal side of it? But, I mean, essentially, is this the end of the road for the SNP's push for independence? I mean, they're still going to argue the case, but is it kind of over?
Well, they would certainly argue, and you'll hear this argument from Nicola Sturgeon and other supporters of independence later on today. They would say there are other ways of achieving it. So, for example, one of the things the First Minister has said is that they would turn the next UK election into a sort of de facto referendum. They would encourage people in Scotland to vote for them, and that would, according to their argument, show that people in Scotland were in favour of independence. There are risks, there are dangers for the SNP in taking that line, supposing people are more concerned about the cost of living, which clearly they are at the moment. So we might see the SNP refine that tactic or think of new ways to develop the argument for independence, but you can be in no doubt they will try to do that.
All right, thank you very much. That's James Shaw, our Scotland correspondent. We'll have more reaction to this news from the Supreme Court in our next update after the full time. It's now 10:56.
For 7 decades,
Thousands of songs,
have soundtracked the lives of generations of us.
but there's only ever been
One official countdown.
marking the 70th birthday of the UK's official singles chart.
We're playing the most streamed number ones.
From 1952 to 2022.
That's 7 playlists bursting with hits. Compiled by the official charts company exclusively for BBC Sounds. The UK's official most streamed songs.
To listen, open BBC Sounds, tap music.
And play most streamed chart.
BBC 5 Live.
The FIFA World Cup, Qatar 2022 with Mark Chapman.
Goalless in our first game of the day between Morocco and Tunisia. Second half on the way. A few other, or just a couple of other sports stories around before we return to the World Cup. Pep Guardiola has signed a 2-year extension to his contract at Manchester City, so he'll stay in charge there until 2025. And also in cricket, the former Australian coach, Justin Langer, says some of his former players were cowards for making complaints about him in the media. Unnamed players were reportedly unhappy with his leadership style, and he resigned back in February. Back to the World Cup, Kiefer Moore changed the game for Wales when he was introduced at half-time of their opener against the United States and ahead of a potential first World Cup start in Friday's match against Iran. He's been reflecting on working as a lifeguard whilst playing in non-league 10 years ago.
Life experience, being out in the real world, you know, when you're in the academies, I suppose you are a bit sheltered to that. And, I've had I wouldn't say a tough life, but it's been a tough journey to get to this point now. A lot of sacrifice, a lot of hard work. Obviously 10 years ago when I was working at the same time as playing football, it was a lot of work. But that's led me to have this hard working ethos I have, and I've carried that with me the whole way and still got it now. I feel like I've over the last, say, 4 or 5 years, I've really grown as a player, and then I really enjoy these big moments. When I've been called upon in these big moments, I've always pulled performances, and I can't wait for Friday. And it's what you dream of as a little boy, to play in World Cups. And if I do manage to start on Friday, it'll be a very proud moment for myself and my family, and one which took a lot of hard work and dedication to get to.
That's Kiefer Moore. One other story out of the Wales camp. Joe Allen is back in full training. Our second game of the day, Germany against Japan. Ian Dennis is at the Khalifa Stadium. And Germany going into the tournament for the first time in a long time without Joachim Löw as their manager, and Hansi Flick now in charge, Ian.
Yes, his first major tournament. Obviously, Joachim Löw quit. Or he was with Joachim Löw, wasn't he? As an assistant, and Hansi Flick quit after the 2014 World Cup success, but taking over from Joachim Löw after the Euros. But this really is potentially a difficult group, Group E. It's got Spain and Costa Rica also in it, and I think Germany will still be feeling the smarting experience from the last World Cup when they were knocked out at the in the group stages. So they'll want to make sure that they get off to a good start here against Japan, who I think could potentially cause them some problems. I think you can get at this German defence.
Chris Sutton, do you think you can get at this German defence?
Yep, I agree with my colleague today, Ian Dennis. I think it's a really interesting group, a difficult group, and Germany at the last World Cup, I was there when I think everybody was shocked. They finished bottom of their group. South Korea beat them. I was in Kazan with Ali Bruce Ball that day. Neuer went AWOL in the last few minutes, and South Korea broke up the pitch to score the second goal.
You laughed and were accused of being disrespectful.
Did I laugh? I don't know whether that was a lie.
Yeah, you definitely did. They played the commentary clip on breakfast this morning. You were laughing. Yeah.
That was maybe a nervous laugh. I felt a bit sorry for what was he doing, Neuer? What an idiot. He'll have to be really disciplined today and maybe stay inside his own box. But this is a tricky opener because Japan are a team full of really good technicians, and Ian is right. I think that they'll sit in and they'll counter, and maybe cause the Germans one or two problems.
Okay, back with you two for commentary of that game in a little while. Mark Schwartz is going to leave us very shortly. The teams are coming back out for Morocco, Croatia. Just one on Australia and France last night. One on Olivier Giroud. I know you weren't happy with how the Australians conceded the goals, but to go level with Thierry Henry at the top of the top goal scorers for France, that's some achievement.
Phenomenal.
For somebody who doesn't get the praise he deserves, in my opinion.
No, but I think you go back to 2018, and yes, he didn't score a goal, didn't get a shot on target, but he was phenomenal. From the minute he was introduced against Australia in that first game, and he turned it for France in that game, he was instrumental. I'm a massive fan. I think his goal-scoring record throughout club level is incredibly impressive, and obviously now that he's joined Thierry Henry as the greatest ever goal scorer at the moment for France is remarkable, and he's in probably almost the best form of his life in AC Milan. Last night, 2 goals, disappointing from an Australian perspective, but huge amount of respect for him as an individual.
That hasn't crushed Australian hope, has it?
A little bit.
Has it?
Yeah, a little bit. But I mean, you know what? Leading up to the game, I said already, people asked me any chances for Australia. On paper, 0. In reality, there's always a chance. You're playing a game of football. Saudi Arabia showed in the first game anything is possible. We started off in the perfect manner, but we couldn't get it over the line. And obviously, France then went to another level and we couldn't compete. They were miles ahead of us.
Mark, for now, thank you very much. Australia's next game against Tunisia, which is Saturday morning, and you'll be able to see that on BBC television, and Mark will be with us for that. Back to Connor and Stephen for the second half of Morocco-Croatia. Goalless.
Thanks very much, Mark. Best chance in the first half fell to Croatia's Nikola Vlasic. Really good save from Yasin Bono. And Vlasic has not come out for the start of the second period. He had picked up a knock just as the teams went down to the changing rooms at the break. So he's been replaced by the Atalanta midfielder Mario Pasalic. As Walid Regragui, the Moroccan coach, comes out of the tunnel. And he's angry about something, Stephen. Something's not gone right. I think someone hasn't put the right sugar in his tea or something. But something has not gone the way he wanted. And in fact, Amrabat has come sprinting out. I didn't even notice he hadn't been on the pitch. Sofiane Amrabat, I think, has gone for a relief break, and maybe that's what Regragui is so cross about. He say, "Where is my holding midfielder?" And that was why there's a delay here to the start of the second period. Right, 11 on the pitch for both teams. Pasalic on as a sub for Croatia, who will want to step up a gear, I think, Stephen, now in this second half.
Yeah, they will want to. They'll want to implement their style of play against this very organised Morocco team, but they'll have to be patient. They'll have to try and wait for gaps to appear. They might have to try and tire out the Moroccan team. The one thing I would say about Regragui, I would not want to cross him, Connor. You see how angry he got there. I think he's a man who demands respect and ultimately will get it because of the type of character that he is.
Yeah, absolutely. He was furious there. But back underway, Morocco hoping they can keep it up, and Croatia, who brought on Pasalic, who, you know, we've seen him in the Champions League in recent years with Atalanta. He's a very good player, scored against Manchester United in the Champions League last season. He comes on, and that doesn't necessarily weaken Croatia in any way. Perisic on the left, Pasalic on the right, and Andre Kramaric through the centre. It remains for Croatia. The midfield three we've discussed ad nauseum: Modric, Brozovic and Kovacic. The back four: Juranovic of Celtic, Lovren, the former Liverpool player, Guardiola, the youngster, he's only 20, the other central defender, and Bjorn Sosa, the Luka Modric stand, who's playing at left back. The goalkeeper, Livakovic. The Moroccan team: Yassine Bodo, who made that big save. The right back, Achraf Hakimi of Paris Saint-Germain. Romain Saiz, once of Wolves, alongside West Ham's Naif Aguerd, the two central defenders. Nusair Mazraoui is the left back, the Bayern Munich player. In midfield, it's Azdin Ounahi of Angers, alongside Sofiane Amrabat, who was arguably the best player on the pitch in the first half. Then there's an attacking three from Morocco: Hakim Ziyech of Chelsea on the right, Selim Emela in the middle, Sofiane Boufal, once of Southampton, on the left hand side, and Youssef En-Nesyri, the Sevilla forward, is the attacker through the middle. So Morocco 0, Croatia 0, the score. Croatia with possession, and Bjorn Sosa on the left hand side, but no way past Hakim Ziyech, and the ball goes out of play for a throw into Croatia, which Perisic takes quickly, looking for Kramaric, and it's headed straight back out again. And it'll be another throw in for Morocco, but it moves them a bit further up the field. The Moroccan fans are still bouncing and singing and watching on from the sidelines, and just seeing an image on our screens of Walid Regragui biting his fingernails, and I think more than anything that sums up the mood of how Morocco are feeling. They have got a chance here, but can they keep it up? As Pasalic gets involved for the first time down the left channel, controls it by the byline. He dragged Aguerd out of position, but Morocco have done well to hold it up. Back to Bjorn Sosa, and as soon as his delivery comes in, the flag had been raised, and Croatia were offside in the build-up there. Perisic was offside, and that is a free kick to Morocco. And that back four, they look very drilled. They're holding a very tight line. I've just seen the replay. I'm not sure that was offside, Stephen.
No, I don't think that was what the offside was for. I think when he plays it back from Perisic, then Pasalic was offside when he played it to Perisic, and he took the ball off his toes. That's what Perisic was so annoyed about, because he knew that he was in an offside position. But they are very, very well drilled. It was a great run from Pasalic to get in behind initially from that right hand side to the left side position, and maybe that's something that they've looked at half time and said, we have to go a little bit more direct if the press from Morocco is so good.
Croatia 0-0 at the moment against Morocco as Boufal tries to attack down the left hand side, and Juranovic tackles him, and the ball goes out of play for a throw in to Morocco. Morocco, the bearded Sofiane Boufal. He plays in France now, the former Southampton player. He's another one who's at Angers. He's got 6 international goals to his name in the past, as he battles for possession with Juranovic again, and this time it goes out for a goal kick. Goal kick to Croatia, away to our left hand side as we look down. Coming up later on, Germany against Japan is at 1 o'clock UK time. Ian Dennis and Chris Sutton will be your commentary team for that one. Spain against Costa Rica with Vicky Sparks and Rob Green at 4. And the evening game tonight is a good one. Belgium against Canada. John Murray and Dion Dublin, your commentary team for that. Coverage of all the games on 5 Live and BBC Sounds. This game today, because it's featuring Morocco, is also live across Africa on the BBC World Service. And just a reminder that any games that are on BBC television, if you go to the BBC iPlayer, you can choose to watch the pictures, but linked up with the 5 Live commentary, and it's all perfectly in sync, which is an enjoyable way to watch the games if you do enjoy the radio commentary along with watching the pictures. Kramaric has possession here for Croatia. It's about as deep as we've seen him. Ziyech makes another tackle. He's made a lot of those in the games, and he's picked it up a second time here and rolls it in front of El Nassiri. And good defending by Guardiol right on the edge of his own penalty area, just lunging in and nudging it back to the goalkeeper Livakovic, who's able to clear away. 0-0 it remains.
He's better than that, Ziyech. That was a lovely opportunity to play that ball through to El Nassiri, who was in behind Guardiol, who I don't think would have got back at him. That was a wasted opportunity for Morocco.
Big moment for Marion Pasalic coming on as this half-time sub. It's the first time he's played at a major tournament, as Boufal's shot comes in, hits Lovren, falls for Mazraoui, diving header, and Croatia managed to get it away just about. That was a dangerous build-up from Morocco. Pasalic has it. Mazraoui has stayed down. He went for the diving header. He's hurt himself. I don't know if there's any appeal that he was fouled in the box. I certainly couldn't see anything, but he's slow to get back up to his feet, is Mazraoui. That's why there's the whistles in the background. And temporarily, for the moment, Morocco effectively playing with 10 men. Modric has it, 15 yards inside the Moroccan half, has a look up to see where there's a runner. The runner is Juranovic, into the penalty area on the right hand side. Remember, there's no left back. Here's the ball into the middle, and Hakimi's able to head it out. It'll be a corner to Croatia, but with Mazraoui, the left back, injured down the other end, Modric cleverly attacked down the right, and Juranovic had so much space there, Stephen Warnock.
Well, it's terrible for Morocco because they have to see that Mazraoui's not on the pitch, and Boufal has to fill in at that left back position because of Mazraoui missing. But who spots the danger? Who spots that player out of position? Luka Modric, lovely ball down to Juranovic down that right hand side, dinks the ball to the back post, but it is well defended at the back post by Hakimi and puts it out for a corner to Croatia.
Now, you know, we've seen the replays of that diving header. VAR has had a look. They don't want any other. In fact, let's have this corner and come back to it. Modric to take the corner from the left-hand side. Really dangerous delivery. Lovren tries to slide in, and Amrabat makes a clearance 1 yard in front of the goal line. There's a player injured in the penalty area. Clash of heads, so the referee is going to hold it up. Guardiol collided with the goalkeeper there in what became a real scramble in front of the goal. Dejan Lovren, who scored a goal recently in a Nations League game about 2 months ago, had a chance here when Bono, the goalkeeper, diving out, collided with Guardiol. Real crunch between those two, but that took the goalkeeper out of the equation, and Lovren, following up, might have scored was it not for Amrabat making the block and clearing it away.
He's done so well, the Moroccan goalkeeper Boho, because if he doesn't come out and push that ball out into the middle of the 6 yard box, I think Guardiol puts it into the goal. I think it's a huge moment for the goalkeeper. It's brilliant goalkeeping from him. Yes, he gets injured in the process, but if he doesn't, I think Morocco are going 1-0 down.
0-0 it remains at the moment. Morocco, who have just got still concerned about Nusayr Mazraoui, the left back who got hurt. We were about to say that before the corner kicks. We've got the break in play. So when he is jumping for that, or leaping forward for that diving header, it does look like Juranovic might have sort of collided into the side of him. Now, the VAR will clearly have had a look at that, and they've decided no further action, but and then that put him off balance. So I think after the diving header, the way he fell onto the ground might be how he's hurt himself, but he's slow to get back. You're going to see another replay of it here, Stephen. Just watch Juranovic here. Is probably not an appeal that he's fouled in.
I just don't see anything at all, to be honest with you. I think more than anything, it looks like a grass burn. It doesn't look sore at all. Listen, the opportunity he had, I don't think was a diving header. I think he has to go with it with his foot. There's no power on the ball across, but maybe he's just overstretched himself and maybe he's fallen funny. But it didn't look to be any contact from anyone else.
That's funny you say the grass burn. Of course, you know, these modern pitches nowadays, that there is plastic fibres in with the grass. It hurts a bit more than you might imagine when you slide across them. This break in play, while treatment is still being received by Mazraoui, the big spider camera sweeping over the Moroccan fans who've brought a wonderful flavour and colour to the atmosphere inside the Al Bat Stadium. And this crowd, which we mentioned is the second largest, the capacity is up near 70,000. I think it's 67,000 is the. Mind you, with this World Cup, who knows what the capacity is? They seem to change every time you read them. What they're going to do after the World Cup, a little bit like the opposite of what they did at the Etihad when it was the Community of Manchester Stadium, after the Commonwealth Games, where they enlarged it. after the World Cup, they don't want this stadium to become a big white elephant, and they're actually going to reduce the size of it. So it's going to be the opposite. They're going to fill it in, and it's going to become around a 30,000 seater stadium, and they're actually going to build a supermarket down in the low part and a shopping centre to cover the pitch. It's just, it's an interesting way of doing it, because clearly a country like Qatar isn't going to have the use for all these 8-9 stadiums that they've built, so this is a way that they're going to try and get use out of it in the future and actually make it a smaller venue, which is interesting. Play back underway, 10 minutes played in the second half. Morocco 0, Croatia 0. Lovren, who might have given Croatia the lead there. Not the cleanest cut opportunity, but the best that we've had in this second period, as Kramaric tries to run down the left hand side. Agard probably would have beaten him to it anyway, but in any event it goes out of play for a goal kick to Morocco away to our right hand side. Morocco 0, Croatia 0.
I think for any West Ham fans wondering what Agard is like, he's quick, very comparable on the ball. A couple of tackles within the first half, which were huge tackles. Likes to go in for strong tackles, doesn't shy away from them. So I think West Ham fans can be excited to see him play. Obviously we know the speed in which the Premier League's played at, but this tempo of this game has been very, very frantic, and he's been more than capable of playing in that speed.
0-0 it remains. Ball bounces in front of Romain Saiz. Good firm defensive header from him up towards the halfway line. Brozovic returns it. Gerd nods it away. And eventually the ball comes to a standstill at the feet of Dejan Lovren, who rolls it to Bjorn Sosa on the left hand side. Croatia have possession inside their own half. 4 games, including one of the favourites, Brazil, on 5 Live and BBC Sounds tomorrow. Rick Edwards will be presenting 5 Live breakfast from Qatar from 6 a.m. Don't forget you could get your daily dose of the FIFA World Cup reaction on the World Cup Daily podcast, which is available as always on BBC Sounds, where your football daily would normally be. Achraf Hakimi putting the ball out of play. Croatia quickly get it back in again, and immediately they look for Luka Modric and they get the ball to his feet, and that's poor by Modric's standard. It flashes through the Moroccan defence. He thought he saw a run, but there was no one there. And by the elite level, I think he only had one misplaced pass in the first half. Modric, that was poor by his standards.
Well, that's his one for the second half.
Yes.
That's the way we'll look at it, Connor.
He's got it out of the way. So, Croatian fans in the crowd just beginning to look a little bit worried. We've seen some of the big name nations troubled in this opening few days of the World Cup, and Croatia are hoping that they're not going to become a headline here. 0-0 against Morocco so far. Morocco would be delighted if they can get a result against the team that finished second in the world 4 years ago in Russia. Brozovic back nibbling away in the midfield. Perisic plays it to Brozovic once more. Ball goes off Hakim Ziyech and out for a Croatia throw out near those giant air conditioning units that hover the perimeter of the pitch on the far side. Perisic was the intended recipient of a pass there, but Achraf Hakimi was able to nip in, and the Paris Saint-Germain player gets it back for Morocco, who cleared it away. Strong header won by Lovren near the centre circle, and it goes all the way out of play for a throw into Morocco on the left hand side. And Mizraoui still doesn't look great. The left back, who's been struggling since that attempted diving header, he's made a signal to the bench there. I don't think he's going to be okay to continue. He doesn't fancy it.
No, he signalled there as if to say, I can't continue. Substitution, and it looks like they're getting ready to make that change, and now he sits himself down on the deck, and looks like that's his game over.
Yeah, down he goes. It's unfortunate. He's one of the more high profile players in this Moroccan squad. Nusayr Mizraoui left Ajax in the summer, joined Bayern Munich on a free transfer, and he was one of the guys, a bit like Ziyech, who hadn't been in the international squad for nearly 2 years. He'd fallen out with the previous coach. They got rid of him. They brought in Regragui, and now Mizraoui back into the fold and starting this game, but it doesn't look like he's going to be able to complete the 90 minutes, and they'll just hope that it isn't anything too serious that might keep him out of the Canada and Belgium games to come.
I've just seen the incident again, and when he dives straight away, he does go to it's almost his stomach area, just above his hip, and you just wonder whether he has pulled a muscle as he's gone to push himself forward. So hopefully it's not anything too serious, but they put him on a stretcher to make sure that he's not walking off the pitch, so he must be in some discomfort.
So the stretcher comes out. This will all be added on, of course, to the time at the end of the match, but with an hour played, Morocco were being forced into their first change. Mizraoui, who might have scored in a game that hasn't had too many clear-cut chances. He had a lunging opportunity with a diving header that he picked up the injury at, and in the end it wasn't on target anyway. It's going to be Atayat Ula who will come on, who plays for the Moroccan champions Wydad, and he's a left back, or he's a left wing back. He likes to come forward, and he will take the place of Mizraoui, but there's no doubt he is not in the calibre of the player that he's replacing, so the butterflies will be bouncing around inside his stomach. Yahya Atayat Ulala on the left hand side for Morocco as play gets back underway, and this is Guardiol near the centre circle with that protective headgear. Croatia playing from left to right as we look down in the checkered red and white shirts. Good slide in by Sofiane Boufal to put the ball out of play and to intercept another pass for Croatia.
Well, there'll be more emphasis now on Boufal to make sure that he protects Ulala, making sure that he's in good positions and helping him out in 2v1 situations so that he doesn't get overrun. And use that experience that he has to help him through the game.
Morocco lost their opening game of the last World Cup to Iran, and the winning goal, you might remember, was in the 95th minute. It was an own goal in St. Petersburg 4 years ago. They'll know that this will go all the way to the very final whistle. But both teams who've been forced into a change now, with Vlasic gone off injured for Croatia, and Mizraoui now gone off injured for Morocco. 0-0 it remains. Guardiol midway inside his own half. The pitch now all in shade. At kick-off earlier on, 1 o'clock Qatari local time, half the pitch was bathed in sunshine. There's a ball over the top which Kramaric will run onto, and Saiz did very well there. He just got his body in the way and he matched stride for stride. If Kramaric tried to slow down, he slowed down. If Kramaric tried to speed up, he did. He kept that shield, and the ball went safely through to the goalkeeper Bono, away to our right hand side wearing all blue. Bono short to Aguerd. Aguerd gives it to Hakimi midway inside the Moroccan half. The Paris Saint-Germain right back plays a lovely 1-2 there, and this is what he loves to do, bomb down the right hand side. Look at the acceleration, and a chance to cross for Hakimi, and maybe an opportunity. It just wouldn't sit up for Amala. It's still alive for Attilo Tula, who came on. He's ball into the centres, too close to the goalkeeper, and Livakovic makes the save. Well, Achraf Hakimi, Stephen, this is what he's all about. He is the definition of an attacking fullback, and Morocco would love to see a bit more of that from him.
Yeah, lovely interplay with him and Ziyech down the right hand side. Lovely little give and go, and he just opens his legs. It looks effortless for him, but he just pulls away so comfortably from Soso. He can't keep up with him. He can get nowhere near him. He plays a ball across the box. It evades everyone, goes through to the back post, and Croatia get away with a counter-attack against them.
Very nice turn by Sofiane Boufal. Did a little Cruyff turn to bring the ball with him and left two defenders for dead. Foul on Selim Imala, and a free kick to Morocco about 15 yards outside the penalty area. Once again, it's Luka Modric. Now, we discussed this at half-time. Is Modric's reputation, the worldwide superstar, the Ballon d'Or winner that he is, would anybody else who's committed as many fouls as he's done have seen yellow by now, in your opinion, Stephen Warner?
Possibly. I think the one thing I would say, having seen the replay, is the referee is right on top of it, so maybe that has helped Luka Modric.
I don't think they're bad fouls, but it's the number of them.
Yeah, well, I think there has been a couple of bad fouls. I think there was one in the first half where Amrabat runs away from him and he cynically takes him down. And you would have thought after that one more foul would have been enough. Then the pull of the shirt, and I expected then to get a yellow card, but like you say, he's getting away with it.
Yeah. It hasn't even appeared to be a final warning or anything like that issued by the Argentinian referee. Achraf Hakimi's been stretching his hips a lot, and I wonder in that sprint that he made down the right hand side, as he somehow hurted himself. He's the man standing over this free kick. You would imagine it's too far out for his shot, but Livakovic won't be taking any chances. It's a full 15 yards outside the penalty area, maybe a little touch more. Hakim Ziyech is eyeing it up. I don't think they're going to shoot from here. It is rolled. Hakimi does fancy it, and it's punched away by the keeper. Oh, he put the laces through that. There was a whip on it. It was too hot to handle for Livakovic, and from a long, long way out, the goalkeeper punches it away. It was on target, though.
What a strike. I mean, just a little round the corner pass from Ziyech. And Hakimi, he strikes it with his laces, but it's got bend on it, it's got whip on it. And Livakovic, he does the right thing. He does not try to catch it because there's three onrushing Moroccan attackers waiting for anything that is pushed down into their path. He punches it high and wide. Really good goalkeeping, but what a strike that was from Hakimi.
Novakovic, the league winner in Croatia last season with Zagreb, Dinamo Zagreb. As Buffal is the latest who's been forced off. Now that's a disappointment because he's been playing very well in the game. He hasn't had the ball that much, but when he's had it, he's been full of tricks. But Sofiane Buffal, once a Southampton player, has been forced off. However, it opens up the opportunity for a guy that I've been really looking forward to see, Stephen. This is a young kid who's on the books at Barcelona. He's only 20. He's been sent out on loan to Osasuna this season, but he is Abdi Zalzouli, and this kid they think could be the next big thing. I mean, he's coming down the supply line, whatever you want to call it, at Barcelona, where there's so many talented kids. But Zazuli, he is raw, he is not experienced, but he's one of those one to watches, and interesting to see how he rises to this big stage now, the number 16.
Well, we always get a breakout player in the World Cup, don't we? The one to watch, and someone who takes us all by surprise. Would it be that much of a surprise, being a Barcelona player and being an exciting prospect for the future? Perhaps not, but to do it on an international stage, a world stage, big pressure on his shoulders. I hope he lives up to it.
Yeah, Zalzouli is on for Morocco. Amala here has possession of the centre circle. Modric comes in and picks his pocket. Absolute expert there to win the ball back for Croatia. And then look at the frustration from Modric as his teammates give it away, and he's waved his arms in the air. And Modric eventually wins it straight back again. Doesn't that just sum him up? Rolls it to the right hand side to Kramaric, pushed a little bit wide. Kramaric turns back at himself, into Modric again, third time in the move. Amrabat, the peripatetic Amrabat, is there on the edge of the penalty area once more to win it back from Morocco. He's had a storming game, not just the work rate he's putting in, but the tackles he's making, and he wins possession back, and Morocco clear it away again. 0-0.
It was really good for Amrabat because he's the one who initially gives the pass into Modric, loses the ball but doesn't panic, stays calm, doesn't dive in on Modric, stays on his feet, and as you say, he's been exceptional in the way that he's gone about his business today.
It's Modric, who was clearly frustrated, visibly frustrated when his teammates gave away possession, but then he immediately won it back again, and he's got that hunger, and he continues to be the one that drives Croatia on. And you think now with the clock ticking on, and we're now midway through the second half, if anyone is going to pick this lock and open the door for Croatia, it feels as likely to be Modric as anyone. Here's Ivan Perisic running along the halfway line, giving it back to Dejan Lovren. The press isn't quite as energetic for Morocco now, and that's to be expected in the searing hot temperatures of Qatar, that they don't quite run in on Lovren and Guardiola with the, well, mind you, I say that, the guy's just come on. Zalzouli sprints in there to apply a little bit of pressure, and Croatia try to work their way through it. Brozovic gives it away, won back by Achraf Hakimi. Left-footed ball over the halfway line, doesn't quite run into the path of Amala, and it's picked up by Brozovic once again. And this could be the portion of the game that Croatia begin to flex their muscle now and take control as Bjorn Sosa comes down the left-hand side. Perisic, first touch ball back to Kovacic. He plays a 1-2 with Brozovic. Then there's a foul, is there? No, play on, says the referee, and Kovacic played on too. He fell to his knees, but he bounced back up like the pitch was a trampoline, and he played on. And here is Juranovic down the right-hand side. The covering defender is Atayatullah. Back to Juranovic once more. He's level with the edge of the penalty area down the right-hand side. This is Lovren into the penalty area to Luka Modric. Good period of possession this for Croatia. They haven't really had a spell like this in the whole game where they've put 20-25 passes together. Luka Modric once again always playing with the head up. He's not even looking at the ball, he's looking at his teammates. Who's making a run? Where is there a gap in the opposition defence? He doesn't see anything too enticing, so he gives it short to Brozovic, and Brozovic immediately returns it to Luka Modric once again. He's the man that Croatia want to get on the ball. Morocco 0, Croatia 0. 5 Live and BBC Sounds from the BBC at the World Cup 2022. Brozovic, patient this from Croatia now. Morocco are just covering all the angles. They're not lunging in. They're trying to make sure that there's no gaps that can be exploited. And it's a game of chess at the moment as Guardiola plays a short 1-2 with Brozovic once again. And then eventually a Moroccan touch of the ball by Amala puts it out of play for a throw into Croatia. First time in the game, Stephen, that we had that sort of stalemate.
Yeah, they're finding it so difficult to find any gaps within the Moroccan team, Croatia. They're trying to work hard to create openings, to draw players out of positions, but credit to the Moroccans, they are not giving in. They're making sure that Croatia are going to have to work hard. And there hasn't been that many openings in this second half for Croatia.
Juranovic, who's seen plenty of the possession down the right-hand side in this second half, has been fouled there by Zalzuli. And it will be a free kick to Croatia, but not until after they make a substitution here. They're going to take off the striker. So Kramaric makes way. And had that one opportunity when he ran in and the goalkeeper came out of the penalty area to clear away. Andre Kramaric, the one-time Leicester City striker. And he'll be replaced by Marko Livaja of Hajduk Split, who comes on for his 15th cap. Fresh legs into the Croatian attack.
He's been poor, Kramaric. Not really saw enough of him to think that he's going to hurt the Moroccan backline, so not a surprise to see him leave.
Kramaric had a great spell last year from October 2021 through to June of 2022. He had 5 goals in 7 matches for Croatia. Here's Modric's free kick, and it's put out over the crossbar, and it's going to be a corner. El Nassiri back helping out the defence. That was world-class delivery from Luka Modric there, and that could have gone horribly wrong for El Nassiri. He's in front of his own goal. If he doesn't get the elevation on that, it could so easily have been an own goal. If he hadn't got the touch at all, Pasalic was right behind him, and Morocco have really shoveled that away for a corner.
Brilliant from El Nassiri. He had to make sure he got something on it. He's probably thinking to himself, I could actually score an own goal.
Yeah, Modric stands over the corner kick, prepares to take it. This is the 4th corner that Croatia have had in the match. They've only got 2 players in the 6-yard box. The others are lurking on the edge of the penalty area. As Modric plays it in, right-footed, headed down at the front post a bit clumsily, and it's back in by Livaja, and a jump on the back post, and again the West Ham player nods it out for another corner. He's hurt himself in the process, but he got it bravely away. Corner to Croatia on the left-hand side this time, and Marko Livaja was the man who scooped it in. Lovren was the target of the back post, and as Agard jump, I think Lovren has his forehead into the back of Agard. He's not really fouled him, he's trying to get the ball, but Agard felt that on the back of his skull.
Well, you would have thought Lovren would have won that because he's running onto the ball, but Agard, strong, big header, pushes it round for a corner to Croatia.
The referee has run in, and very dramatically, as only Argentinian referees could do. He looks like he's in a Christmas panto there, the way he waved his arms across to say on absolutely no circumstances is there to be jostling inside the 6-yard box. Corner comes in from Modric, and it's too close to the goalkeeper. Now, chance of a counter-attack has come. Here comes Zalzuli, the Barcelona kid, into the penalty. He goes down, he wants a penalty. Referee had a good view of it and says no. I think he stumbled himself as much as anything there. But Zalzuli, that was the chance he was waiting for, the counter-attack. Croatia had players up for the corner. He got into the penalty area, but he wasn't able to do anything with it, and Croatia clear away.
No, El Nassiri didn't help him at all. He wanted to be left one-on-one, and he made a run across, and it just brought more Croatia defenders back into the pack to help them go against Zalzuli. Zalzuli just tripped on the ball, went over under pressure. It was never a penalty.
Luka Modric in his 4th World Cup. Croatia 0-0 at the moment, and time just beginning to run out. There's still plenty to go, but we have got 16 minutes of normal time to play. It was 16 years ago that Luka Modric made his World Cup debut. He played for Croatia against Japan. I'm just actually looking at the moment of a picture of him back then. The same hair, by the way, but much more cherubic looks around the face. He's got a few lines on the forehead now. This is Pasalic, midway inside the Moroccan half, gives it to Bjorn Sus on the left-hand side. Now to Perisic, who hasn't had that many deliveries. One lovely movement in the first half where he produced a cross. Tottenham fans, Inter Milan fans, so used to see him deliver with regularity from the left-hand side. He's been kept quiet against Achraf Hakimi, who might just be the best right-back in the world, mind you, so that could be a reason why that Perisic has not been able to deliver much today. A tangle here between Agard and Kovacic, and it's a tangle that Agard wins, and it's a puzzled look on Kovacic as he steps away and falls back into position. Still 0-0 on 5 Live and BBC Sounds.
It's a puzzled look because I think Croatia are lost of ideas of how to break Morocco down. They're finding it so tough to break through them. And the battles individually, you have to say Morocco have competed and come out pretty much on top in most of the challenges that they've gone in for.
0-0, Croatia being frustrated, and so much of it we do have to praise Morocco, who've been really good to watch. The spirit that they've produced, matched with the talent that they have, and And this brave move to change coaches at just 3 months before the World Cup seems to be paying off, as Lavaya does well on the edge of the penalty area, but too many defenders around him, and Atayadula is able to get it back to the goalkeeper, and Yassine Bono clears up towards the halfway line where Brozovic is involved, but down he goes, and the referee said he's been fouled by Unahi there. That's controversial because had play been allowed to continue, Stephen, Morocco would have had a clean run towards the penalty area. Was that a foul on Brozovic?
No, I don't think it was. I think he just knew that. I think it was El Nassiri was going to pinch the ball off his toes, and he just drops to the floor and buys that foul. Very, very fortunate.
Yeah, he's used all his experience there as Marcelo Brozovic, because that was a high-stakes poker game he played. If the referee had not given it, you had 2 Moroccan players. Maybe Lovren might have got back, but 2-on-1 it would have been into the Croatian half. Here's Bjorn Sosa, cross on the left-hand side, too high for Lavaya. Roman Saiz was sticking to him like glue. Atayadula comes away out from left back, but his delivery upfield is poor and gives possession back to Croatia and Josip Juranovic. Here comes Brozovic through the centre again. Lavaya with a flick off. It's been won by Unahi in the midfield. He gives it away to Luka Modric, 10 yards outside the penalty area. Has a look up, there's no room for a shot. Perisic available on the left hand side, and Perisic's cross is blocked by Achraf Hakimi, and the ball ricochets out for a throw into Croatia, and they take it immediately. They're keen to get on with it. No time to waste now. Backheel from Perisic, can't pick out Luka Modric. Down goes Hakimi, and it's going to be a free kick. Free kick to Morocco. Croatia continue to be frustrated. 0-0.
Perisic with a laugh, a grin, because of the foul given away on Hakimi. Hakimi with the old Maradona turn, twists him inside out, then just goes to ground far too easily. Well, you said Brozovic bought a free kick.
Yeah,
Hakimi's just done exactly the same.
Yeah. Croatia can't complain too much because it was cancelling out what had just happened before. But Hakimi wasn't touched there. He's done his little Maradona turn and he's crumpled to the ground, and he's deceived the Argentinian officials. Again, to take the free kick from Morocco from just outside his own penalty area, launches it long into the Croatian half, and it bounces all the way through to the goalkeeper, and the clock ticks on, and Morocco preparing to make a change, and Abdelhamid Sabiri, who plays in Italy with Sampdoria, is about to come on. Now, he's not an experienced international. He's only played 2 games for his country before, but it's inevitable, the manner in which Morocco have started and continue to play in this game, that they would have to empty their bench as the second half continues, and we're about to find out if the fringe players, if you like, the youngsters who are coming on, can match the quality of what their most experienced starters in this Moroccan team have been able to inflict upon Croatia so far. Will there be a goal in the game? Modric goes down, cleaned out by Sofian Amrabat, and here it is, the first yellow card of the game. And Sofian Amrabat, it was a tired challenge. He didn't fancy sprinting against Modric. He said, I'm just going to take you down here. And the Argentinian referee reaches for his pocket and shows the yellow card.
Yeah, quality from Modric, just allows the ball to drift across his body. Little flick of it takes it away from Amrabat, and Amrabat just clips his heels, as you say, Connor. He just knew. He actually high-fives the referee as he goes past, as if to say, fair enough.
Fair cop. Sofian Amrabat, he's had a great game, an absolute stormer. I hope that's not the first sign of fatigue creeping in. We'll keep an eye on him and how he runs over the next few minutes as Roman Saiz comes across and clears the ball away. And yeah, it's a little bit more limiting now for Morocco. They're just clearing their lines, they're treading water a little bit as the change is about to be made down there, and just looking as Croatia are going to make a stop to that is Lovro Mayer, who plays in France with Rennes, who's going to come on for his 12th cap, and it's a high profile name who'll make way. It is Chelsea's Mateo Kovacic, who goes off, and he'll be replaced by the 24-year-old Lovro Mayer, who had a very good season in France last season in Rennes. They finished 4th in Ligue 1, and they've kept those standards up so far this season. Rennes at the moment, when the action stopped in France for the World Cup break, they're 3rd in the table in Ligue 1. So Meyer comes in, he's a creative player. He's good at picking passes as Juranovic takes a throw in, tries to launch it into the box looking for Ivan Perisic, comes back out to Juranovic, header down to Lovro Mayer, chance for him to roll it back, looking for support, which Juranovic provides. The ball up onto the arm, and they want a free kick, and it's going to be a handball against Salem Emela, and that is going to be Yeah, he did have his arm outstretched. That is handball. Free kick to Croatia. Dangerous position this, crossing location on the right-hand side.
We talked about yellow cards and blatant handballs. Amela is very lucky there not to pick up a yellow card because he knew that Maya had got in behind him and was in trouble. Blatant yellow card for me.
Modric stands over it. So too Lovro Mayer. It'll either be an outswinger from Modric or an in-swinger from Mayer. Two-man wall has been erected, even though this is out right by the sideline. But Bono wants to be able to come out to the edge of his 6-yard box and not worry about a sneaky shot trying to curl into the front post. It's going to be Modric. It's going to be an outswinger. Here it is. Keeper retreats to the goal line. Header from Guardiola is off target. Two defenders around him. And the referee says actually that Guardiola had pushed the defenders. So that is a free kick to Morocco inside their own penalty area.
Yeah, he used them for leverage, didn't he? Tried to get up above the Moroccan defenders. I think it was Saiss. He's on top of him. He's using him to try and get a header on goal, but the referee was right. It was definitely a foul at the back post.
Okay, it's going to be a double change for Morocco. They're going to bring on two attacking players. Abdelhamid Sabiri of Sampdoria scored his first international goal in September in a friendly against Chile. And also Abdurazak Hamidallah is going to come on, and he is back in from the cold. He is a striker who's had a fantastic record at club level, but he's not been involved much in the national team in recent times. But he comes on to a big roar of approval from the Moroccan fans inside the stadium. So El Nassiri is one of those who makes way, and Hamdallah will go and play up top where he was, and Sabiri will also come on, and he will take the place of Asdin Unahi. And no great surprise to see him go off. You described him as a little bit lightweight. He doesn't have a very strong upper body. He's not been able to influence things much, and Uzani makes way to allow Sabiri. No great surprise to see that, Stephen.
No, not at all. He's made clever runs, but just turning into players a little bit lightweight, as you say, Connor, and he probably hasn't had the effect that he would have hoped he would have, and his manager thought he might have in this game.
Into the closing stages then, 8 minutes to go, plus the inevitable stoppage time as we are growing used to at these group stage games at the World Cup in Qatar. This is 5 Live and BBC Sounds. We're also across Africa on BBC World Service. Can Morocco hold on for a point here? Might they even nick a goal to get a win? It feels like a long time since Lavakovic has had to make a save. There was that shot after the free kick from Achraf Hakimi. That's as close as Morocco have been in the second half to actually scoring themselves, Steve.
Yeah, they just haven't really created many opportunities. For all the hard work and endeavour that we've seen, their organisation, they just haven't been able to create too much. Ziyech has been very quiet in the second half, and his quality hasn't been at the level that we know he's capable of.
Croatia have only ever once lost a game against an African team. And that was the last time they faced an opposition from the continent of Africa. They were beaten by Tunisia in a friendly 3 years ago. Sabiri has come on, turns 26 next week. He's like a coiled spring. He's sprinting around there wanting to make an impact, realising he's not going to get much game time actually on the pitch as the throw-in goes towards Hamdallah. I mentioned he's got a fantastic record at club level. Now he plays his club football in Saudi Arabia, which is not the Champions League, but in 2019, the calendar year, he scored 57 goals for his club. He knows where the back of the net is.
Yeah, listen, you've still got to be able to be in positions to make that happen and score goals. If it was that easy, everyone would be scoring 57 goals within the league, so he's obviously got qualities.
She's got the number 9 on his back, and he is leading the line now, and Morocco would just love, if a chance was to come, he, as an Irishman, we used to always say with Robbie Keane, even in his older years, give him a chance in the penalty area. He's the man who will find the back of the net, and I think that's the role that Hamdallah is fulfilling here. Leading the line, they've got the striker up top, they've got the line of 3 behind him of Zalzouli, the young Barcelona kid, on the left. Hakim Ziyech, who's actually had a quiet second half. He was more prominent in the first period. He's on the right hand side, and Selim Emela is sort of in the number 10 role as Luka Modric has possession for Croatia. Tries a crossfield pass that is cut out. It'd be interesting to see the pass completion rate from Croatia when we look back at the stats at the end of this game, Stephen, because they've given the ball away a lot today.
Yeah, and I think that would be one of the biggest frustrations from their performance, is that the turnover of their balls being far too much. But you have to give credit to Morocco to say that the second balls, to put them under pressure, that's what you want to do when you step onto the pitch, is make sure that you're in the faces and cause them caused them to make mistakes.
Yeah, there's been very few instances where a Croatian player anywhere near the Moroccan penalty area has been able to have a touch or two and look up and find a pass. Everything's had to be first touch or a tackle sliding in you immediately, and credit to Morocco for doing that. Lovren, a bit uncertain in defence, has cleared the ball away, and Morocco have got a throw, and they take it quickly. It's hoisted in, good goalkeeping. Dominik Livakovic comes out right to the edge of his penalty area wearing bright yellow. He leaps in the air, two strong arms, and he holds onto the ball above his head. But Morocco have found themselves a second wind here. The energy that's been introduced by the substitutes has seen them regain a bit of tempo. Here's Azuli. Now, has he got a trick? Tries to go inside Juranovic and Lovren, and he goes down inside the penalty area, but the referee says no, and he thinks he was looking for a spot kick there.
Yeah, too weak. Lovren, exceptional defending, just knows exactly what he's trying to do. Big strong arm across him, and Zalzouli goes down far too easily for my liking, trying to buy his team a penalty.
Yeah, be stronger. If you're taken down, that's fair enough, but it's almost like he wanted to go down. He wanted the nick to be on him, the challenge to come in.
He knew the defender was too good from Lovren.
Here is Amrabat rolling the ball to Roman Saiz, and now Atayat Ula. The man who's come on at left back in place of the injured Mazraoui. Morocco will hope that Mazraoui will be okay for their other two group games. This could be a big moment for the African nation. If they could get a goal here, if they could beat Croatia, it would be such a springboard for their World Cup campaign. Guardiol's made an interception. Looks like Levaya's offside. He runs through. The ball carried on in front of him through to the goalkeeper anyway. He didn't get there, but I think if he had done, Levaya had begun that run in an offside position.
Yeah, it'd be interesting to see it again, but it's a poor ball through to him. It's not even a difficult ball because Saiz says it's been caught wide open and he'd allowed Levaya to get the space through the middle.
Plenty more to come today from the World Cup on 5 Live and BBC Sounds. Germany against Japan is coming up next. That will be getting underway in just over an hour's time. We will continue with Spain against Costa Rica at 4 p.m. UK time, and the evening game tonight, Belgium against Canada. And remember, Canadians are going to be joint hosts next time round, so they are really excited about this, getting to the World Cup again. Canada, I believe that Alphonso Davies, their Bayern Munich superstar, is an injury doubt. It'll be intriguing to see if he makes the starting 11. But and look, Belgium, what do we need to say about them? Third place last time, all the talent, Kevin De Bruyne and whatnot. Can the Belgians deliver what we know they're capable of? It's going to be great to see.
Yeah, it's going to be fascinating, isn't it? A lot of people saying, was Belgium's time the last World Cup, and is it come too late for them? But from Canada's point of view, what a story it is for them. Former teammate of mine, Junior Hoylett, is also playing, so I'm delighted for him to see him playing at a World Cup. But obviously we want to see the biggest stars in the game, and fingers crossed Davis makes the game tonight.
Yeah, nice story as well with Canada, that the coach used to be in charge of the Canadian women's team and brought them to the World Cup, and he's the first coach to be in charge of a nation at both the women's and the men's World Cup, which is indeed, and English as well. Yeah, I mean, you're even saying that's more impressive. It's more impressive to be English than to.
No, I just think it's a great story, that what he's done, but also an English manager at the World Cup, and I think it's superb.
It's going to be one to look out for. 7 p.m. UK time, Belgium against Canada. Zalzouli there shows the sort of frustration. He's got all the talent and the tricks and whatnot, but he outfoxed himself again there a moment ago, where he did a little step over, he left the ball behind him, he ran off and he forgot to bring it with him, and I'd imagine that'll be a little bit frustrating for the Moroccans, who, a bit like, when a player like Cristiano Ronaldo first came through, you just get the simple things right, then work on the tricks, which Ronaldo of course ended up doing in his career. But Zalzouli's got that sort of unpolished diamond look about it.
Yeah, he has. I think the one thing we'd say though is, imagine how excited he is to get on the pitch, and he's probably trying too much at the moment. That'll come with experience, but this is a huge experience for him today, just to get on the pitch and play some part in the game.
Time clicks on. I wonder, are we headed for a third 0-0 draw of these group stages already? At the World Cup 4 years ago in Russia, there was only one 0-0 game in the entire tournament. I know, because I commentated on it, and it was hard work. It was Denmark France, and that was my hardest day work that month. Myself and Dion Dublin at the game in Moscow. And that was the only game that didn't have goals. But this could be a third 0-0 draw in the tournament, Stephen.
They didn't tell me that when they put me as co-commentator with you. I just said, no, not with Connor. He gets 0-0s.
Well, the Moroccan fans will, I think, take this, Stephen. 0-0, a draw against Croatia would be some start for their tournament, and they're twirling their flags and their shirts in the air here. The supporters looking on as Croatia make another change. Orsic has come on in place of Perisic.
It'll be a huge result for Morocco, and you can see it from the fans there. They know their team need them. They can see that they're a little bit tired, they're a little bit fatigued. They're trying to back them. This will be massive. This will be such a big result
against the big name team in the group, if you like, in Croatia, as this will be all cleared up towards Ziyech. Ziyech has struggled in this second half. He's been fouled there by Bjorn Sosa. Free kick to Morocco midway inside their own half, and Croatian fans are looking concerned and worried now.
Should we see it as that much of a surprise, though, Connor? When you look at Morocco's team and you think of the quality that they've got
they
in,
play for,
and a lot of them are playing in top leagues now in Europe, and
it's just that they haven't won a World Cup game in 24 years. That's it. That they haven't been able, and I think this is it. They've often been a fractured nation in the international scene, and we've had it in recent times with the dispute and the manager. They might just have stumbled across some harmony now, and we get to see the best of them, hopefully. And look, I can't wait to watch the next Morocco game. Having watched this game, I really want to see them again.
Correct.
Not that this one is over. Zelzouli, has he got a trick up his sleeve? Turns and sends in a cross, but it was behind Hamdallah, and it goes through to the goalkeeper, and he hasn't produced the final product yet as young Zelzouli. But there's no doubt Morocco getting him into the game a bit more now.
Yeah, but Hamdallah, know your players. He wants to get in a 1v1 situation. He's coming showing for feet. Get in the box, get yourself in the middle of the goal. That's where you're going to score your goals.
And when you say know your players, isn't that a good example of what we discussed earlier in the match about how the coach has only just come in? He's not had time to get these patterns, to develop these rhythms, and maybe that was an example of it there with young Zelzouli not being on the same wavelength. Here is Sabiri on the halfway line. Time very much running out. We're heading towards stoppages now as the ball gets played back to Aguerd. If there's going to be a winning goal in this, it's going to be a late one. And remember, Morocco lost to a stoppage time goal in their opening game 4 years ago in Moscow against Iran. It was an own goal in the 95th minute. They would hate if that was to happen again here. They've each had 7 attempts in the game so far, but 0-0 it remains as Amrabat and Sabiri between them rolled it back to Bono, and now to the left hand side to Romain Saiz, and he has a look up and he launches it on that. They're not going to settle for the draw here, Morocco. They want to go and try and force the winner themselves. Under pressure, Dejan Lovren down by the corner flag boots it into the crowd, and it's going to be a throw into Morocco, attacking position down the left hand side.
Such a lovely ball from Saiz, just floats it down the line, gives Lovren a problem because Lovren knows it's never going to run out of play, has to clear it out, and now Morocco have themselves a throw in down in the corner flag. Brilliant ball.
6 minutes have been added on for the stoppages. And there haven't been that many delays, but that seems to be the minimum these days is 5 or 6. It seems at this World Cup, as the ball is cleared away just about by Meyer. It's not a great clearance, and Croatia lose possession. Lavaya wasn't able to receive the pass from Lovro Meyer, so Morocco get it back, and they try to launch it out towards Ziyech on the right wing, and Bjorn Sosa at full stretch gets there first and heads it out for a throw into Morocco on the attack in stoppage time at the end of this group stage game in the Al Bayt Stadium in the city of Al-Khor, and down goes Modric, fouled by Ziyech. Shake of the head from Ziyech. Free kick to Croatia just outside their own penalty area. Is there time for a late winner here?
Disappointing again from Ziyech. Gets himself in a 1v1 situation, and he tries to go back and play a ball into Hakimi, and it's cut out by Modric, gives the foul away, and it was a good position for Morocco to swing the ball into the box and perhaps cause the two centre-halves of Croatia a problem.
Morocco's last friendly before this World Cup finished 0-0. It was a game against Paraguay. Are they headed for another scoreless game as Zelzouli boots the ball away? Anywhere will do, just to cut out the crossfield pass there, and it goes out for a throw to Croatia, and their manager Zlatko Dalic is down there with his arms folded across his chest. Just looking at the Moroccan coach Walid Regragui. I mean, these now are the nervous moments for him, because they're on the verge of a very important point. It would be, I'm sure, a performance that'll be heralded around the planet, but he knows it could still go wrong. There is enough strength and talent in this Croatian team, and maybe an opportunity here. Lavaya tries to get into the penalty area, but it's taken away from him, and Morocco blasted up the field and all the way back to Guardiola near the centre circle.
Well, Regragui will be looking at it thinking, if we were to concede a goal late on now, it can change the whole dynamic of the group. If they were to hang on now for a draw or perhaps pinch a win, then it changes the way that they can move forward into this group, because it's been positive from them, very, very positive.
I don't want to curse it, but Croatia have not had the bite in the final third in this game so far. That bit of quality you expect. Let's see if Lavaya can produce something here. His pass is in front of Meyer. Meyer sprints to the byline to keep it in play, right hand side of the penalty area. He makes sure it doesn't go out for a goal kick, but he's lost possession. A chance for a Moroccan counter-attack, and Atayatullah tried to send a through ball looking for Hamdallah, but it's cut out, and Atayatullah's battled really hard here to win it again. That's brilliant from him. Here's Zelzouli. The teenager runs into Lovren, who's seen it all before, and says, you could do your tricks, but I'm just going to slam into you and win the ball, and he gets it back for Croatia. And then there's a foul on Brozovic, and it's a free kick to Croatia. And Zamzouli, it's a school day for him. He's learning one or two things here today.
Yeah, he certainly is. He's certainly learning that this is a different level, and brilliant again from Dejan Lovren, who's thwarted him twice now in his tracks. Croatia come on the attack.
Yeah, he's moved up a level. He's like a kid who's good at under 12 levels, but he's now playing with the under 15s. Is Zamzouli here? It's a completely different prospect, as Selim Emala has given away a free kick, and Croatia will have this. It's sort of between the centre circle and the edge of the penalty area, midway inside the Moroccan half. Is there to be a late sting in the tail? Can Croatia muster the spirit of 4 years ago when they took that roller coaster all the way to the final? Can they come up with the goods late on here, as they've got this free kick? Luka Modric with the captain's armband stands over it. Short run up, right-footed delivery, headed away by Hamdallah. Comes out as far as Lovro Meyer. He'll give it to the right-hand side. Livaya wanted to push it down towards the byline, looking for the defender Guardiola, but sliding in was Sabiri, who makes the challenge, and that is it. The full-time whistle. Is it blown? Yes, it has. It is all over, and the coaches come across in embrace, and this finishes as the third 0-0 draw of the World Cup so far. Morocco will have won a lot of friends and a lot of admirers with this. They weren't able to finish it off in the final third and produce a goal of their own, but against one of the well-drilled major tournament teams, this is a big scalp for Morocco to have held Croatia 0-0, Stephen Warner.
Yeah, they did exceptionally well organised, well drilled, energetic, pressed well at times. Second half, we knew it was going to be a big ask for them. Could they continue that? They couldn't, but they stayed organised. They made it difficult for Croatia, and it was a difficult game for Croatia to try and navigate the way through. They couldn't find the opening. They lacked in quality themselves, and on a whole, I think the 0-0 is a fair result, but Morocco will certainly be the happier of the two teams.
Yeah, it finishes 0-0. If you just see the scoreline, it might sound a bit more boring than it was. There was a jeopardy, there was an intensity, and I think crucially, Mark, in a World Cup in which we've seen a lot of fans leave the stadium early, nobody was, none of those Moroccans were going home right till the whistle there. It could have been won by Croatia right until the death, but 0-0 it finishes.